Hello and welcome to Biz Buzz with Bruno. I'm your host, Michael Bruno. Some of my dearest, lovely friends that I've had the honor to work with multiple times. We're here with the lovely and talented Jessica Jane Witham and the lovely Heather Rankin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So first of all, let's start, Jess. Let's start with you, if you won't mind. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to be where you are today. What's the secret to Jessica Jane Witham?
What's the secret to getting to middle management and arts administration? No, I'm from Madison. I've been doing theater in and around Madison since high school. My mom did theater in Baraboo and Green Ram, and my grandmother did theater with Madison Theater Guild, actually back in the 60s. So, like, I have a long history of Madison theater. And I've done all kinds of things. I created a burlesque show in the early 2000s called Foxy Veronica's Peach Pies. I basically just kind of like tried to learn all of theater from the inside out. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it wasn't a lot of like access to education and training and that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of community theater and then just tried to do all the jobs to figure out as much as possible. And I feel like I'm giving a long story, but yeah, went to New York, went to school out there, came back, did more theater, got some degrees in theater and anthropology, and eventually started working at Encore. I actually came to Encore on a lark. You know, I heard there was a job that paid in theater, and I was like, great. So I applied, and I was hired as an associate, and then I think I got the position as program director, I think within like 6 or 8 months of being there. So, because the position opened up and it was a natural movement. And I really enjoyed working in administration. And that's kind of how I began that part and why I'm here today talking about Whoopensocker and Encore. Because of Encore, I got into administration, which is what I do primarily now.
But for do you do the same thing for Whoopensocker?
Yeah.
You do the same kind of job?
Well, at Encore, there's two kind of jobs. There's the human services management, and then there's also like arts administration managing director kind of stuff, which is more like marketing, development, outreach. And then with Whoopensocker, I started working on them with them because I happened to go to a theater Leela lab that Erica Halverson was at, and she's like, I have this idea, and I was like, ooh, that sounds really cool. I like to organize stuff, and I was like, can I help you? And then we just started playing, and the idea she had was Whoopensocker. So I began my job with them has always been tandem performer focus as well as organizing the performances. So there's like a Venn diagram where they overlap.
And you're doing it at the same time, right? You're working for both companies right now?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. When do you sleep?
Whenever I can. It's carve out little times. I mean, I'm always looking to hustle, right? Like, you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet as an artist and an arts administrator. Like, so I'm still like, are there more gigs? I'm not. There's more time before I'm ready for sleep. I could take more gigs. So if you know anybody, let me know.
Call in now.
Call in now.
Potential.
Here's my resume. My CV is available at.
So now, Heather, you get to follow that and tell us about the Heather Rankin story.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Oh gosh. So I started. I went to college for theater in Illinois, and then moved to various places with my husband, and his job brought us here to Madison in the year 2000. And then in 2012, I started working for Encore. In that time, I've also been an artistic director for Broome Street Theater. And I've also picked up the improv habit, which has been delightful. And I'm now working with Atlas Improv. And yeah, that's it.
That's all.
So we had the Cliff Notes version and we had the Encyclopedia Britannica version of the life story of my two guests today. Heather, I can't believe you only moved here in 2020?
Yeah,
2000?
in 2000. Yeah, I've been here for, it'll be 24 years in August. We moved in 2 days before school started. And so my son started first grade here, my eldest son. And we got the boxes in and shoved them off to school the next day.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. But no,
It's amazing how that time frame, because I came back here in 2001.
Yeah.
And so I've actually been back now in Madison as long as I was gone to the West Coast. And that just boggles my mind to think, where did that time go?
Right.
It's like I'm still thinking, when I we go out to the West Coast and I see people that I worked with and they're all like retiring and they're moving out of LA and San Francisco and they're like, we're in the desert, we're in Palm Springs. It's like, was that long ago? And it's like, yeah, we're old.
Yeah.
We're old. And I think I've been back here now for this amount of time. I feel like I just came back. But the great thing is, I come back and I make these amazing people who are like, keeping the theater alive in Madison. Came back to meet my husband, which was amazing. Yeah. So all that stuff that's happened is it's like, okay, there's a reason why I came back to Madison. There's a reason why we're all in Madison, because we are the creative people they're holding Madison up here, which I think is a really important thing to do.
There's a lot of potential, and there's so many people that want to exist at the intersection of like arts and doing something with arts. And I feel like there's a lot of people that really want to like make the community better and stronger in so many different ways. It's really a beautiful place to exist as an artist lately.
And there's so many companies. Every time I turn around, we get an ask from, and it's like, where'd that company come from? Or who thought that up? How cool is that?
Yeah.
I'm remiss. I didn't mention the Women's Theater.
Oh. See?
Jan's going to be so upset with me if I don't mention the Women's Theater. So Jan Leventhal and I and another gentleman founded the KR Women's Theater. That is still going strong after 10 years. So very proud. Even though I forgot them in my original introduction.
And I'm sure you'll get a very, very love note from Jan, right? As soon as she's watching this episode.
You just got to offer your resume like I did. Cover all your bases.
I know.
Exactly. So that brings us to, let's talk a little bit about Encore, one of my absolute favorite companies in Madison, which I'm so grateful that they're, number one, they're here and that they survived through the pandemic, like many things that didn't. So tell us a little bit about the beginnings and what Encore is for people that maybe don't know anything about it.
Well, if you're unfamiliar with Encore, Encore is a professional theater company for people with disabilities. And we are totally a professional company. We write shows specifically for our people and teach them and have them function as professional artists. They get paid to do the work, and they do it well.
It is so amazing. But you also have people from the community that are actresses. Like Jess, you've been in many performances, as you have too, Heather.
Yes.
You've actually, been actors with people with otherly abled. Right. What is the proper way to
people with disabilities?
People with disabilities. Okay. You never. Everything changes. It's like how many LGBTQ AT plus alphabet soups can we have added there? Okay, I want to be contemporary. Okay, I'm an old man.
It can be hard sometimes.
So you incorporate that. So it's not strictly just doing shows that are just for people who are disabled.
Yeah.
So they're actually working together with people, which I think is wonderful because it puts everybody on the same acting level, which is so cool.
Because I think you and I met several different ways. Like we've had many different incarnations of relationship, but we also, I know you used to work with one of the actors that we used to support when you worked in residential care, I believe.
Yeah, with Rem.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that's when Encore started. It was actually with Rem.
Right, exactly.
So we're more than just a theater company. We're a vocational, a supported employment agency. So it's like one of the things that I love saying about Encore is we don't just do theater. We also show that a couple different things, that theater is a tool for workforce development and for professional development. And additionally, people who want to work and have disabilities have other options beyond just pushing carts in the grocery store or emptying garbage cans. So that's a lot of times supported employment does not look like super cool employment. Yep. So we are also an agency that you can go, like the people can come to when they have to audition. It's not just like anybody can sign up. This is where the fun hybrid of the company comes in. So there's this fun fun, but like a social justice component to
Right.
it, where it is
Right.
actually
Right.
workforce and professional development, and proving that theater is a tool for social emotional growth, which is just so darn cool.
It is very, and it's the only
Yeah.
one in the country.
One of the few in the country.
Oh.
We have to be.
Oh, gotta be careful with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
We have to. We now have to say we are the first in
First, yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. When I
and
first,
one of,
met
yeah.
Kelsey, it's like, that was one of the
That was
amazing
it.
things. It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
there's nothing like this anywhere. It's
Yeah,
like
and
the
I think
coolest thing.
people have different models, right? Because the
Right.
model that we do with supported employment is a little bit different than just being a theater company. So I don't
Right.
know how many have that connection.
Okay.
But yeah, I could talk about that for days. I think it's so interesting.
So Heather, what's your current position with Encore?
So I am the artistic director.
So do you then choose the entire season and choose what show is going to be
I
in,
do.
as well as who auditions?
Yep. I choose the season. I cast the shows. I do most of the directing. Sometimes the associates do, or in this case, with this current project, Jessica is doing some filming for us, and so she's directing our recordings for our wonderful commercials. But yes, I do that organizing and planning.
And what's the show that's coming up now? Is it May?
It is in May. It opens May 3rd. It is Encore live in front of Encore in front of a live studio audience. I mess it up too, even though I made it up. So Encore in front of a live studio audience, and it is a project we will have some very short little encore sitcoms, and in between there will be recorded commercials, and they are a tribute to the sitcoms of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And there'll be some audience participation as well. We'll have the signs, laugh and awe and applaud. And so it should be really fun. After, I feel like we've kind of been creeping out of the pandemic, and I just felt like we should have fun. So I wanted to do something that was light and yet incorporating our people in a way that just sitcoms with people with disabilities in them, and making it normalized. They're just people in these funny shows.
I think that's one of the beautiful. Sorry to interrupt. One of the beautiful things that I like is that it isn't stories about disability.
Right.
It is simply stories, like the stories that we're writing, like the commercials, because primarily is what I'm talking about. But like most of our works as a whole isn't necessarily disability as the focal point. It is simply part of the story and part of there's a lot of beautiful intersections in the stories, and it's also just a really fun thing that we're doing right now. We have some really goofy little commercials where people doing infomercials that are kind of based in the 70s and ascend up to wrestling in the 80s and stuff like that. So it's going to be,
I love
unexpected.
And everything is completely original.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Every show
Everything.
that I've attended and every show that I've seen, but
Yeah.
it's all written locally and they're all original pieces.
Yep,
Right.
all in-house for the most part. Yeah, we have some actors write with us too. Some of our actors have helped written. Is that right? Helped write. See,
Grammar Police.
has helped write some of the stories, so it's really exciting. It's a very organic and way for everybody to develop and to try things out.
Right. I mean, and it's been exciting to have just a lot of writers right now. I mean, Kelsey has been a huge artistic force, and one that we certainly model a lot of things after. But now we're having our associates are writing, and Kelsey's daughter Sarah has written a piece for this, and so it's kind of nice to have the collaboration of everyone together, and it's exciting to have all these voices.
That's so cool.
So,
and the thing that impresses me, one of the things that impresses me is the talent that these kids have. Kids, I shouldn't call them kids. That your actors have.
Yeah.
In that some shows that I've seen, the amount of exuberance and the talent and the music and the singing and playing instruments and just being so amazing on stage is so encouraging that I would go and see a show there anytime before I would pay $100 to go and see something at the Overture Center.
We do have some new actors that you haven't seen yet
cool.
that you will lose it for.
We've
got there's a beautiful transition of some younger folks that have been coming in lately. So we have there's one gentleman we recently got who did some work with the Penguin Project in Sun Prairie.
Oh, another one, Penguin Project.
Yeah, so it's
Amazing, right?
it's fun. It's really, and it's also fun because we're getting a fresh eye right now and like a new look at different abilities through the younger generation and some of like the amazing technical abilities that we're seeing come in that we didn't expect, like different one young guy we have who's an amazing like drawing artist. Like he'll come in and be like, hey, I drew this poster, and it's like,
wow,
what? Yeah, it's really fun.
Really good stuff.
Wow, that's cool. So now, have you picked out an entire season, or you're just concentrating on this show, and then other shows will be announced as it goes on, or have you announced a full season?
I have not announced the next season.
Ah, okay.
So that should be in a month or two.
Because you do more than just one show a year.
Yeah,
right?
This year we did 3. We did Navigating Well in the fall. We did Road Trip in the winter, and then we'll be doing Encore in front of a live studio audience. I got it.
Yeah, we're in the final show of our 23-24 season right now.
Yeah.
And when did it start? What year it started?
2000.
Well, see, that was the magic year.
Right.
2000
Yeah,
was
that's
the
right.
magic
That's
year.
right.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's insane. It's been almost, and we one of the actors and I did a symposium at West High School, and it's fascinating to know that even people who work within the disability world, haven't heard of Encore, and it's amazing how people are like, wait, you've been here for how long and we haven't heard of you? And it's a testament to how many different theater companies there are in town.
Well,
now. I
and
will
that's
say
true.
that as well.
Yeah.
That's true. But this one is outside of the Penguin Project, which
Yes.
is its own entity.
Right.
It's one of the most unique theater companies.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a professional.
Right.
I mean,
Everybody gets paid.
Everyone gets paid.
The lovely thing I've noticed, even since I've been back, which I, really spearheaded when I had Whoopie Doo, was I paid people. It's like,
Right.
no, I don't care. I expect that level of talent, and I expect that if it's going to be popular, the people who are doing the work need to be compensated, even if it's gas money, or even if it's you get a free meal, and I'll give you $20 for gas.
Yeah.
I really believe that in order to really nurture that, and because we're professionals, there's so much, and not that I'm putting down nonprofit
no.
and putting down community
no,
theater,
no.
because that's my life for many
Yeah,
years.
no.
Sure,
But
sure.
Madison needs to step up to things, and when
Yeah.
you have companies that recognize that, and they're like, yeah, we're going to find where the grants are. We're going to find somebody who can write a good grant in there. We're going to find people who are going to be patrons and angels and donors by getting what you do, by getting the word out there, and saying this is a company that needs to thrive because we're providing. Number one, we're providing theater and the arts. We're providing it for another minority of a minority group of people, and this adds to Madison.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a great thing to know that more companies are starting to do that.
Yeah.
Megan Randolph does that with MTM. It's like, I'm working with Savoyards this summer.
Yeah.
Everybody's professional. Everybody has a contract. I'm like,
Yeah.
hallelujah, Madison is finally getting up to where it's Minneapolis and Milwaukee and Chicago.
Yeah.
We don't have to go there anymore. If you really strive and you really want to do theater, there are companies that will welcome you with open arms.
Definitely.
As long as you want to put the work in there,
Yeah.
which I think is so encouraging with Madison now.
And even that $20, that adds value. Just showing that you as a producer, you as a director, you as an administrator, I'm going to say it, give a shit enough to actually put that 20. It's like, as an artist who is always told, it's exposure. Having someone say to me, I don't have much, but I can give you $20 because you're worth it. That means, and that also teaches me, I am worth it. I get to ask for money. It's really exciting.
Right.
Speaking of, we are hiring.
We are.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we are hiring staff right now. We are looking for people.
Operators are standing by.
I'm just like here. I'm just here to chill today. Like I'm here just to like. Yeah, no. But seriously, so like there are opportunities out there, and it's really exciting that we get to work at one of the places that has one of those opportunities. Where you can go and do theater, and get paid to do improv with us, and get paid to write scripts, and get paid to support people. It's so cool.
That's very cool, and that's one of the things. Again, that's one of the things that Broom Street has been doing that for even though it's a pay what you can, pass the hat kind of thing.
Right.
It just gives you that couple of bucks to be able to say what we're doing here is worthwhile, and it's a shame we have to do it with monetarily, but it does put a different spin on everything.
Absolutely.
It does.
And even if it is just a token, it is something that lets you know that you are valued and that you can maybe not necessarily make a complete living in the arts, although at Encore you can. But you can have a life in the arts, and that is not only sustainable to your soul and your creativity, but can also be sustainable to your pocketbook.
And art itself has a value.
Right.
When you're saying
Exactly.
that, when you put it
Exactly.
out there.
Right. Yep.
Exactly.
It's worth it.
It's so encouraging to see the arc of progression of where Encore first started. It's, when I came back here to Madison too, Kelsey was one of the things because I was working at REM, and one of the boys that I was working with was in Encore, and I was like, "That's a great thing! How great that you get to like get up on stage and act!" And he's like, "Yeah, you got to come and meet Kelsey." And it's like, I didn't know who, and then I met this amazing powerhouse of a woman who played 105 instruments for me the first time, and I was like, "You're incredible!" And to see where that started from when it was still at the Bartell, I mean, when they were fledgling out, they were and like now to see it come to where it's becoming this amazing business and an amazing force for Madison that covers all these different aspects. Like you say, it's a professional job, it's a professional company, and it's serving a community that has been underserved for how many centuries?
Oh, definitely. Especially when it comes to arts. Like there's not, nobody thinks when you're thinking about disability, they don't think, oh, you know what'll help? Art. People don't normally think that, No. So it's really cool that we have this opportunity to be able to give new stories a chance to be heard and give new people a chance to tell their stories, because that's another thing is like talking about original work, the beauty of the original work is that that our authors are writing directly for and to the people that we support. So it's not like it's this piece over here and you have to go in and fit and make yourself shape to fit the piece. We make the piece fit the actor, because every person is different, and how they speak, how they communicate is different, and it's really amazing to see that these things can be communicated through so many boundaries as well.
So as the person who is on the stewardship of this company, what do you see happening in the near future? What are your like wishes or wants, or where do you want to see the company rise to the next level of amazement?
You have to be a little bit careful.
I know. I don't want to give anything away, but I'm talking about artistically and the scope of opening it up so that more people know about this company, which they should be knowing about this company.
I think this current project kind of shows one direction that we're moving, because during the pandemic we needed to pivot and do recordings or filming, but it's not film, it's digital. And so being able to create something that still incorporates those skills, and that way we have something that can be sent and shared with people who don't necessarily live in Madison. And so, we can share those things. People can have, if they have relatives who don't necessarily live here, we can share that a little bit further, and hopefully that will help people know a bit more about us. But yeah, I think just expanding the kind of work that we do, that it's not all one kind of genre. I like to play with different kinds of art forms, and not limiting us to only talking about disability issues. Even though certainly that's going to be a part of our work in the future, because it needs to be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be everything. And we can not only expand our breadth as artists, but also develop the artistic sensibilities of the people that are our actors, and let them know that there's something beyond just playing themselves.
Very cool. Now, is your company currently, are they all based in Madison? Are they all Madison people in the company right now?
Yeah.
Or like Madison adjacent?
Yeah, Madison
like Middleton,
adjacent.
Verona,
Yeah,
I consider that all like, Madison adjacent.
we
Dane
do.
County.
Yeah, all within close enough.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something. It went right out of my head. So tell me a little bit more about who some of the people are? Like, not you have to give their names, but like, you know, what are some of their the attributes. Hello, spelling the word out. That you found, especially with some of the new people. I'm dying to like see now what their a little bit about what their backstory is and how they came to Encore and how it was with their audition process and you incorporating them into a company of people that may have been there since it started.
Oh yeah, transitioning with the younger,
the new kids on the block.
the new kids. Well, the new actors. It's fun. It's interesting, and it's kind of working both ways too, because as our actors who've been here a while are aging, changing the characters that they're playing, right? And when they used to play young kids, they're now going to be playing parents or older people, you know, making sure that their roles are developing with them. You know, we don't necessarily want a 50-year-old playing a 20-year-old anymore. And so taking those attributes of our new people and also letting the folks who've been there for a while develop as well and mature. That was a vague answer.
Pretty good. It was good. Well, I mean,
That's okay. I get it.
Disability, it crosses all sectors, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it's interesting because the people that we have gotten recently tend to skew a bit younger, but the way that people come to us is always different, and we get so many different people. For example, one of our newest actors is from Amsterdam.
Right.
Wow.
He is an amazing, amazing young man, but he has a very different cultural context than
Sure.
somebody who wasn't born in Amsterdam,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
raised in and he's lived all over, and he speaks Dutch, and and English,
Wow.
and it's amazing, and he says some of the most amazing, beautiful things like, do you want to call my mom and ask for my origin story?
Right.
Which I said, yes.
Yeah.
Desperately.
Yeah.
Is that okay? You know, but like it's interesting to see like also some of the younger kids are so incredibly influenced by current social media trends, or you can see how different decades really affect different people. Like the same gentleman from Amsterdam is like, Back to the Future is his jam.
Yeah.
The 80s is his jam. Like, and it's interesting to see, you know, our childhood becoming this,
Right,
you know.
right.
So it's fascinating to watch, like, you know, some of the older generation, it's all about the Three Stooges, but you see these different cultural references, and you see the younger generation, you know, who are perhaps not, quote, neurotypical, who are teaching me how to use the iPad and teaching me how to use the computer, because
Right.
I can't always figure it out because
Right.
I'm almost 50.
And that's what they grew up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
That's how they function on a day-to-day basis.
It's amazing. And because sometimes those things also become tools for education and
Right.
for learning and for communicating, they get to know them so much better than old pen and paper with them over here, you know. But yeah, it's amazing. And also I think a lot of the actors feel they have the right to more, because the younger generation, you know, you're told, yes, you can, like, yes, you should be able to do this. Yes, you should, you know, don't let school loans slow you down, you know. So like there's an attitude of yes and that I think a lot of folks come in with that we don't have to teach as often as we used to.
Right.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which you have to say for the improv classes, right?
Yeah.
It's always yes and, baby. That's it. That's the
Absolutely.
first law of improv.
Yep.
Yes and, baby.
Yeah. You got
So now,
it.
you've both acted in other shows with Encore over the years. Give me a little bit of the insight of how that affects you as an actor when you're acting with people that have other abilities than, say, for acting in a show that you've all both done at like the Bartel or shows where it's been your peer group. Give me your a little bit of insight of what that brings to your life and how you felt maybe the first time you did a show like that. It has to be an amazing feeling.
It's cool because there's such wonderful people, but the experience itself is, I gotta say, it's not that different. You know, you come up with the same issues with neurotypical people as you do with those who are not. You know, we're all just people, and we come in with struggles and attitudes. Some people will be off book really quickly. Some people won't be off until the night before opening. And, you know, just like when you're working in any other theater show, you deal with it in very similar ways. You know, some things might take longer for some people, so you need to build in that time. And some things maybe need to be explained in a little more complete way. But honestly, in experiences I've had in other places in the city, that's all happened with people who didn't necessarily identify as being a person with a disability.
Yeah. And we do have kind of like duo jobs when we're performing there, because we're not just able to be just performers. We always kind of have to be staff too. So our job ultimately is to like, so we're not just acting. We're also the props designer and costumer, and we're the stage management. So, you know, it can be a lot to juggle. But one of the things that I think is really cool as well is, because it is a repertory company and the same actors work with us for years and years, it's fun to watch actors evolve over 10 years. You know, like there's some gentlemen, we've had one guy who we've had since he was 20 and now he's pushing 30. And watching him evolve as an actor and watching him evolve working with his disability and seeing the things that he was trying, like the goals that he was setting for himself, and watching him achieve those goals is a very positive thing, because that is something that is different than theater. Is, you know, we don't normally tell each other, well, my goal right now is X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And to watch somebody reach those goals and to watch them take responsibility, take accountability, and to do it for themselves, because mostly we try to be like, you got this, you know. You want to memorize this exactly how it is. You don't want us to cut any lines. Perfect. And watching them then memorize or learn those skills and build up those muscle memory skills it's just really exciting to watch that progression.
It's amazing. I mean, like I say, it is one of the companies that when I first came here, was just like, this is such a gift to Madison, and such a gift to people, not only who are in the company, but a gift to audiences. I mean, the audiences are just blown away by what they've seen on the stage there, which is so encouraging. And it's unlike anything else you're going to see in Madison. It's so encouraging. And like I say, the level of talent that comes from some of the actors is like, where did that come from?
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, and it's a shame, because you should never go in there with a low expectation. Yeah. But unfortunately, because of our minds and because of the way we all kind of grew up, you have that little bit of prejudice, thinking, you know, how can these people get up there and do that? And then when they do it, it's like,
You're like, feeling, whoa.
Yeah, they must be just, you know, and the excitement they have when they're taking the curtain calls, and the exuberance that they have is so cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
It really is amazing. Truly. So, how you get tickets at Encore?
EncoreStudio.org/tickets.
Okay.
Yep.
And are they currently on sale now? So if you go to the website, the tickets are available?
Yep. Friday. Try this again. May 3rd through the 18th, Friday evenings at 8 p.m., Saturdays at 2. We have a total of 6 shows. $20 for general admission. $10 for seniors, $5 for students and people with disabilities.
Cool.
And tickets are EncoreStudio.org/tickets. Yes.
And don't be thrown, because sometimes it's hard to find.
Yeah.
So it's off Fish Hatchery Road, and what's the name of the street?
Martin Street.
Martin Street. And
Yeah.
behind that, what's the gas station?
BP.
Yeah.
BP. So those are your little markers. Because the first time, it was, you know, if you don't really know where it is, the first time you're like, where is this?
Because we're a
place?
warehouse.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because Kelsey, the powerhouse that she is, took this weird warehouse and was like, let's make it a theater space. And boom, it's a theater space.
And turned it into such.
Yeah. And we're a small house, so it is first come, first serve. So we do, you know, we do have sodas and things. So if you want to come a little early, we've been doing a lot of renovations and working, and, you know, a lot of fun things for you to look at on your way in too.
Cool. Well, like I say, I can't be more exuberant about telling people to go and see the shows there, because you will come out a changed person when you see an encore performance. Very true. And thank you so much for coming over here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess, for rearranging your schedule.
No, thank you for your patience with me.
Yes, we apologize for being late this time, but it's well worth the wait because this was a wonderful show. And thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Biz Buzz with me.